So you're rolling around the streets of Surrey, and you got your boys in the car, and you're rolling around your Escalade, your Range Rover, or whatever your SUV is. And then, next thing you know, one of your boys pulls out a sack. And the sack contains some green stuff. Then he also opens up, let's just say, his backpack, and you see some powder in there that's packaged for individual sales. What are you going to do? Oh, but there's one part we forgot. They did an illegal search. So what happens when they do an illegal search? You don't need a waiver. So if the officer says to you, like I said before, the officer said you need a waiver, and I'm going to say to you, you don't need this waiver. So if you don't need the waiver, what we got to do is prepare your waiver packet to show why you don't need a waiver, and the goal for that is to get a September letter. The September letter is a letter from the U.S. government that states, in simple terms, you do not require a waiver because you have not been deemed inadmissible based upon your individual circumstances. You are innocent. You didn't do it. You're not convicted. And because you're not convicted, we're going to get you a September letter. Okay, guys, let me give you a quick scenario. So you're rolling around the streets of Surrey, and you got your boys in the car, and you're rolling around your Escalade, your Range Rover, or whatever your SUV is. And then, next thing you know, one of your boys pulls out a sack. And the sack contains some green stuff. Then he also opens up, let's just say, his backpack, and you see some powder in there that's packaged for individual sales. What are you going to do? You're going to send it to Kent. So do you want that September letter? Of course you do. You don't want to have to do a waiver. You want to be in trouble. How do you get the September letter? Well, you know what? You got to go to sendittoken.com. Sendittoken.com. Once you go there, we can get you that September letter for that order. So then what happens? The Surrey RCMP decides to stop you. They search the car. After they search the car, they find his backpack. And in his backpack, they find the stuff. Now, when they find the stuff, all four of you guys in that car, you know what's going to happen. You're going to get arrested. Perfect. Okay, so you got arrested. That's dreadfully awful because you got arrested. Just because you're arrested does not mean you're guilty. You can still be innocent. You're not convicted. And if you're not convicted, if you're innocent, you're innocent. So you want to use sendittoken.com. Sendittoken.com. We're going to get you clear. We're going to get you a September letter. Because why? Because you are not guilty. So you get arrested. You go out to the Surrey RCMP detachment. They go through their processing. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, but there's one part we forgot. They did an illegal search. So what happens when they do the illegal search? You just beat it. Like I said before, you can just beat it. And when I say just beat it, I don't mean you beat it. I mean the fact that we can beat this. This can be beaten. You are innocent. You didn't do it. You're not convicted. And because you're not convicted, we're going to get you a September letter. And once you get that letter, you're going to jump for joy. You're going to go down to Vegas and party hard. Because everyone loves a party in Vegas. So, sendittoken.com. Don't forget us. Now, then what happens? You go to court, or the prosecutor or the Crown decides that he's going to charge. But in the end, they drop it because, again, the police did an illegal search. You're laughing. You're good to go. You get out to the U.S. border, and they see that you've been charged with PPT but not convicted. That officer says, you need a waiver. You say to yourself, man, what am I going to do? And one of the guys in the car says, hey, all you got to do is just call Ken. Yeah. Guys, remember, if you're not convicted, you must be innocent. If you're innocent, you don't need a waiver. If that guard at the border says you need a waiver, come to us. We will get this cleared, and we're going to get you cleared for a September letter. For a September letter, that's good for life. It's going to save you guys thousands of dollars over your lifetime and even mine. So because of that, you get cleared, you're happy, everyone's happy. The guard may not be happy, but that's just her tough luck. So remember, sendittoken.com, sendittoken.com. We're going to get you cleared quickly to enter the USA and save you thousands of dollars. So then you come to the Surrey office. We look at everything, and I say to you, you're not convicted. You're innocent. You must be innocent. You're not convicted, so you must be innocent. You say, yeah, I am innocent. So all right then. Well, because you're innocent, you don't need a waiver. So if the officer says to you, like I said before, the officer said you need a waiver. And I'm going to say to you, you don't need this waiver. So if you don't need the waiver, what we got to do is prepare your waiver packet to show why you don't need a waiver. And the goal for that is to get a September letter. The September letter is a letter from the U.S. government that states, in simple terms, you do not require a waiver because you have not been deemed inadmissible based upon your individual circumstances. So, who is going to get you that letter? Yours truly. How are we going to get it? We want to get it and show in your packet why you do not need a waiver based upon the circumstances. I'm going to ask you a couple of different questions. I'm going to ask you, what did you elaborate on? What do they have? Blah, 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 blah. And then based upon what you tell me, based upon what we discover, based upon the totality of circumstances, as they say in law enforcement, as you guys know, I'm a former law enforcement officer and former trainer, we can likely get you a September letter. With that letter, which is this, once you have that letter in your hand, you cross that border, and you get an officer who says to you, oh, I think you need a waiver. You pull it out, this letter issued by the U.S. government that says, I do not need a waiver. So if you don't need a waiver, you're good to go. And the reason why you don't need a waiver, guys, is because you are innocent. You didn't do it. So what's the point of you having to do a waiver if you're innocent and did not do it? It's great. That's going to save you guys thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Now, these September letters are hard to get if the person does not know what he or she is doing, the person meaning the service provider. The vast majority here in Canada do not know how to get these letters, mostly because they've never been former law enforcement officers, they've never been former trainers, they've never been former federal officers. So you got to have all that knowledge and experience to know the best way to get these letters if you qualified. And we've gotten quite a few for people here in Surrey and East Van and Abbey and, of course, Brampton, the best areas that we have for clientele. So what we do is, again, based upon your circumstances, based upon what you may have admitted to or have not admitted to, because you're innocent, based upon what happened in terms of the vehicle and what happened in court, blah, 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 and if the officer did an illegal search, which they often do here, you guys just might qualify for a September letter. And once you get that September letter across the border, they cannot do anything to you whatsoever regarding that offense. And I would say they won't be able to get you for anything else because you're innocent of the other stuff. You guys are all totally innocent. You didn't do it. You've never done that, so you're good to go. Again, Ken Scott, Senior, U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst for www.usentry-waiverservices.com. Give us a shout, 604-562-8140. And let's try to get you a September letter.